Welcome to Q Up Arts, the world's most unique collection of sample CDs and CD-ROMs. Percussionist Michael Spiro, drummer Ed Smith, recording engineer Russell Bond, and composer-keyboardist Jeff Stradling had an idea. This idea grew into the most authentic and comprehensive set of Afro-Cuban and Brazilian drum and percussion grooves ever recorded for samplers. Q Up Arts proudly announces Latin Groove Factory. 2 years in the making, Latin Groove Factory is an Afro-Cuban and Brazilian music construction library. This library is comprised of drum kit and percussion loops, plus samples of every instrument in the ensemble. Latin Groove Factory is a comprehensive collection of authentic traditional and contemporary drum and percussion grooves from Cuba and Brazil. Grooves and instruments from the cultures of Puerto Rico, Trinidad, and the Dominican Republic are also included in this smoking set of drum and percussion grooves and samples. We offer you thousands of possibilities via time-locked groove parts. Each groove is offered as an entire ensemble and with each part by itself. Parts from like tempos can be used together to create totally new rhythms. Each style contains grooves in several different tempos with many variations of instrumentation and rhythmic patterns. You can blend and combine these different tempos into traditional or completely new musical styles. Both 3-2 and 2-3 clave patterns are included so that you may construct authentic Latin drum and percussion tracks. In this salsa piece, mambo drum and percussion mix loops were used. Single instrument percussion loops were then added so that certain instruments could come and go while the basic groove continued to play. Conga and timbale samples were used for the fills. Sound for picture composers, arrangers, and producers will find that Latin Groove Factory's authentic feel allows them to create moods previously only available by using live drums and percussion. Latin Groove Factory offers flexibility with instruments and grooves by allowing tunings and transpositions never possible on the instruments and grooves themselves. In the following piece of music, bembe percussion mix loops were used for the basic groove. Individual bata loops were added so that the separate parts could start and stop independently. Agogo and tambourine parts were sped up and used as sound effects. A songa drum loop was slowed down to create a trashy, industrial counter rhythm. Like the traditional salsa piece you heard previously, Latin Groove Factory can also cover all of the drums and percussion in Brazilian music. In the following Brazilian piece, Samba Funk and Samba Cruzado drum loops were used for the basic groove. Individual percussion loops were then added. These come and go, much like the percussionist might actually arrange his parts on a record. Drum and cymbal samples were used for fills. music has been a pervasive influence on all popular music today. Latin groove factories' loops and samples work equally well in traditional Latin music as they do in pop, funk, and dance music. In the following piece, a mambo drum loop was used for the basic groove. A low surdo was added for an 808 type of boombox kick. Mambo conga loops were added, as well as percussion loops from samba cruzado. A shakeré loop comes in after the conga solo, and cuica samples were used for the fill near the beginning. Latin Groove Factory includes the following stylistic categories: mambo, songa, guaguancó, bomba, merengue, mozambique, bolero, salsa, 4 different sambas: cruzado, funk, partido alta, and patacuta. Available on CD-ROM and CD audio.